Hello, Kelly here. Let's say your website is busy generating lots of new leads and sales for your business. Congratulations, that's super awesome. But now you want Zapier to help you track who's a prospect and who's paid good money to become a customer for your product or service. This is really important so you can do two things. A, focus on getting more prospects to buy, and B, calculate the lead conversion time. The Zap can be as simple as capturing leads on a Google Sheet, then running a formula to track the difference between an inquiry date and the day that they become a customer. So let me show you how.
So let's take a look at how to use Zapier to calculate lead and customer conversion times. So what we'll first start off with is the spreadsheet that we're going to use in our Zap. So I've created a spreadsheet that has the name of the lead, when they first inquire, that's the date and time that they first inquire, and when they become a customer. I also want to collect two metrics, which is the conversion time in days and the conversion time in hours. And I'll have one or two Zaps running in the background that are actually collecting this information. So, for example, I might be using a web form to collect the time of first inquiry that pushes in this date and time into this field in the column. And I may have the second Zap pushing in the information of when they become a customer when I mark them as a customer in my CRM, for example. So what you might actually find is that the date and time formats might differ between your different apps, and I'll show you how to work with that in Formatter by Zapier in a second. But just for the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to be using a conventional UK date time format. So in this case, it's the 16th of October 2020 at 8:14, and the conversion time for them becoming the time when they become a customer would be the 17th of October 2020 at 8:14. So I just want to show you that this is exactly 1 day and 24 hours. So my day conversion time is 1, and the time in hours is 24 hours, and the same for the second example. So let's have a look at how to use Zapier to create these conversion times. So the first thing that we'll start with is our trigger step. And I'm going to be mapping in my conversion time sheet, and the worksheet is sheet number 1. And the trigger column that I want, because I only want this Zap to work when this value in this column has been filled in. I'm going to be using the time of becoming customer trigger column. We've chosen some data to use in the test from our sheet. And the next thing that we would do is then use Formatter by Zapier to calculate, to actually convert the time into a format that we can then subtract two values from each other. So we're going to use Formatter by Zapier, and the action event is date and time. And the transform option is format. So we'll map in our value, our first value, which is the time of first inquiry. And then in the to format field, we're actually going to use the UNIX value, which is down here, which is a string of numbers of time based on time from the 1st of January 1970. So I'll actually put this link in the description as well. And it then converts it into a string of numbers, which then we can use to subtract one from the other to calculate our conversion time. Something to bear in mind, as I mentioned earlier on, is that the times that you have in these formats from your different apps might look different to this. So what I would suggest that you do is you take into consideration your time zone, and you also take into consideration the format that this is actually coming in from. So a common format that you might see is this format here from different apps, but you can also make sure that it matches to any other specific format. You can actually even put in custom formats as well, but for the purpose of this, I'm not going to do that. So that's our first one. Then we want to do exactly the same thing for the date and time that they become a customer. So we want to use, again, formatted by Zapier, and we'll use the date time action event and the format transform option. We'll map in our value of time of becoming customer, and again we're going to use this UNIX value here. So if we look at the results for each one of this, you'll see that there's a number that's been generated, and the same for the second one. Now in our fourth step, we then need to calculate the conversion time in days. So if we just refer to this Wikipedia document again, you'll see that every day is treated as if it contains exactly 86,400 seconds. So we're going to use this formula here to then calculate how many days for our conversion time. So we're subtracting our first value, at the time that our lead becomes a customer here, and the time that the lead made the first inquiry over here. We subtract those two values, one from that one, and then we will divide that by 86,400, which is the number of seconds in a day. And then if you have a look here, we'll see that our result is 1. And we then, for number 5, calculate the number of hours, and it's a similar formula where we're mapping in these two values, but we're then going to multiply that total by 24, which is 24 hours, and that will give us our output number of 24, which you'll see here. 1 day, 24 hours, 2 days, 48 hours. And then we also want to push that information straight into our spreadsheet again to update it. So again, we map in the conversion times sheet. The worksheet is number 1. We can use our row from our first trigger step here. So we map in the row ID, and then we just want to push in the outputs of steps 4 and 5. And that is basically how you can use Zapier to calculate lead and conversion time.
What's that sound I hear? So that's how to create a lead to customer conversion automation in a few really easy steps. You can get the template at solvaa.co.uk/templates. And for more tips like this one, subscribe to my YouTube channel and ring the bell so that you're notified instantly when I post a new video. And if you'd like to be told when my new course is published with tons of Zapier tips and tricks, then check the description down below and get on my course waiting list. See you in the next video. Work smarter, not harder.